The stars had always seemed beautiful to the people of Earth. For hundreds of years, humans looked up at the night sky and dreamed of exploring the unknown. By the year 2347, that dream had become real. Humanity had spread across 12 colony worlds, building cities on distant planets and moons. They were proud of what they had done. But in the grand scale of the galaxy, humans were still very small. The collective ruled most of the known universe. It was an alliance of 7 ancient alien empires, species that had traveled between stars when humans were still living in caves. They saw humanity as children, as newcomers who did not deserve a place at the great table of galactic civilization. Most of the time, they simply ignored Earth and its colonies. Humans were not worth their attention. That changed on a cold morning in December. Commander Jack Miller stood on the bridge of the defense station orbiting Mars. He was a tall man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had served in Earth's defense fleet for 30 years. He had seen small battles with space pirates and helped rescue ships lost in deep space. But nothing in his long career had prepared him for what appeared on his screen that morning. "Sir, you need to see this," said his communications officer, a young woman with fear in her voice. Jack walked over and looked at the data. His blood turned cold. A massive fleet was entering the solar system. Thousands of ships, each one bigger than anything humanity had ever built. The energy readings were off the charts. This was not a trading convoy or a diplomatic mission. This was an invasion force. "Get me a direct line to Earth Command," Jack said quietly. Now, within the hour, the news had spread across all human worlds. The collective was coming, and they were not coming to talk. On Earth, in a secret military bunker, Admiral David Cole gathered his commanders for an emergency meeting. David was an old soldier, a man who had dedicated his entire life to protecting humanity. He had always known this day might come. He had warned the politicians many times that Earth needed a stronger military. They never listened. Now it was too late. "We have approximately 400 ships that can fight," David told his officers. "The enemy has over 6,000. Our weapons are generations behind theirs. If we engage them directly, we will lose within hours." "Then what do we do?" asked Captain Lisa Moore, a brave young officer who had served under Jack Miller for 5 years. David looked at her with sad eyes. "We fight anyway. We give civilians time to evacuate. We make them pay for every inch of space they take. And we hope for a miracle." Far from the military meetings and the panic in the cities, Dr. Emily Ward was underground. She had spent the last 7 years of her life studying ancient ruins hidden beneath the Himalayan mountains. Most scientists laughed at her research. They said she was wasting her time, chasing fairy tales. The structures she studied were strange, made of materials that no one could identify. The symbols on the walls matched no known language, human or alien. Emily believed these ruins were millions of years old, built long before humanity existed. Her assistant, Dr. Tom Harris, ran into her work tent with a tablet in his hands. "Emily, you need to see the news. Something terrible is happening." Emily looked at the screen and watched the reports of the approaching alien fleet. Her heart sank. Like everyone else, she felt the weight of fear pressing down on her chest. But unlike everyone else, something in the back of her mind whispered that the answer might be here, buried in these ancient stones. "We keep working," she said to Tom. "Whatever happens up there, our work might still matter." Tom looked at her like she was crazy, but he stayed. He trusted Emily more than anyone he knew. In space, the collective fleet stopped just beyond the orbit of Jupiter. The flagship was a massive vessel, dark and terrifying, shaped like a blade meant to cut through worlds. On its bridge stood Lord Vex, the High Commander of the invasion force. He was tall and thin, with skin like polished stone and eyes that glowed with cold blue light. He had conquered 17 worlds in his career. Earth would be number 18. "Open a channel to the humans," Lord Vex commanded. "All frequencies. I want every creature on that planet to hear my voice." His message appeared on every screen, every phone, every device on Earth and all human colonies. His voice was calm and terrible. "People of Earth, I am Lord Vex of the Collective. Your species has become an inconvenience to our expansion. You have spread to worlds that we require. You have resources that we need. We are not here to negotiate. We are here to take. You have 12 hours to surrender unconditionally. If you do not, we will erase your civilization from existence. Every city will burn. Every colony will fall. Your species will become nothing but a memory. Choose wisely." The message ended. Silence fell across the world. In homes and offices, in schools and hospitals, people held each other and cried. Some prayed to gods they had forgotten. Others screamed in anger at a universe that seemed so unfair. How could this happen? How could everything they built, everything they loved, end like this? Jack Miller watched the message from his station near Mars. His hands were shaking, but his mind was clear. He would not surrender. He would fight until his last breath. Admiral David Cole gave orders for evacuation ships to launch from every major city. Millions of people rushed to escape, but there was not enough room for everyone. Families were torn apart. Children were separated from parents. It was chaos. And deep beneath the mountains, Emily Ward made a discovery that would change everything. She had found a hidden door behind one of the ancient walls. When she touched the strange symbols, they began to glow with soft golden light. The door slid open, revealing a passage that led down into darkness. Cold air flowed up from below, carrying a smell like metal and lightning. "Emily, we should wait for backup," Tom said nervously. "There is no time," Emily replied. "Whatever is down there, I need to find it now." She stepped into the darkness and began to walk down. Tom hesitated for only a moment before following her. The passage was long and winding, carved from solid rock that sparkled with tiny crystals. The light from Emily's torch seemed weak against the ancient shadows. After what felt like hours, they reached a massive chamber. Emily stopped and stared. Her torch fell from her hand. In the center of the chamber stood a giant figure, humanoid in shape but made of living metal. It was over 300 feet tall, its body covered in symbols that pulsed with faint light. Its eyes were closed. Its arms hung at its sides. It looked like it had been sleeping for millions of years. "What is that?" Tom whispered. Emily could not answer. She could only stare at the forgotten guardian of Earth, waiting in the darkness for the moment it would be needed again. Above them, the clock continued to count down. 12 hours until the end of the world. The 12 hours passed like a terrible dream. People around the world watched the sky, waiting, hoping that somehow the aliens would change their minds. They did not. At exactly midnight, the collective fleet began its attack. The first strike came without warning. 3 beams of blue light shot down from space and hit 3 of Earth's largest cities. New York, Tokyo, and London vanished in seconds. The explosions were so bright that people on the other side of the planet could see the flash. Millions of lives ended in the blink of an eye. Buildings that had stood for centuries turned to dust. Entire families were erased from existence. The screaming started then. Not just from the people near the destroyed cities, but from everyone. The whole world screamed together in fear and grief. Commander Jack Miller watched from his ship as the attack began. His fleet of 200 vessels moved to intercept the enemy. They knew they could not win. They fought anyway. "All ships, this is Commander Miller," Jack said into his radio. "We are Earth's last line of defense. Today we fight not for victory, but for time. Every second we give our people, as a second they can use to escape. Make every shot count. Make them remember us. The battle lasted 6 hours. It should have lasted 6 minutes. Earth's ships were old and slow compared to the Collective's vessels. Their weapons barely scratched the enemy shields. But the human pilots fought with a fury that surprised even Lord Vex. They flew their damaged ships directly into enemy formations. They used themselves as shields to protect evacuation transports. They refused to retreat even when their ships were burning around them. Captain Lisa Moore led a squadron of 50 fighters against an enemy battleship 10 times their size. Her team managed to destroy its main weapon before they were overwhelmed. Lisa's last transmission was simple. Tell my family I love them. Jack Miller's ship was hit multiple times. Fires broke out on every deck. His crew was dying around him. He aimed his damaged vessel at the enemy flagship and pushed the engines to maximum. For Earth, he whispered, as his ship flew toward Lord Vex's command. The enemy shot him down before he could reach it. His ship exploded in a ball of fire. But somehow, against all odds, Jack survived. The explosion threw his escape pod clear of the battle. He fell toward Earth, unconscious and bleeding. As the war continued without him, Admiral David Cole made his final stand aboard the last remaining battleship, the Hope of Humanity. His ship was surrounded by enemy vessels. His weapons were empty. His shields were gone. But he refused to surrender. He opened a channel to Earth. His face appeared on screens across the world. He was covered in blood and burns, but his eyes were still strong. People of Earth, David said, I want you to know that we fought as hard as we could. We gave everything we had. I am sorry it was not enough. But listen to me now. Do not give up. Do not let them break your spirit. We may lose this battle, but humanity is not finished. As long as one human being draws breath, there is hope. Tell our children that we never surrendered. Tell them that we love them until the end. Goodbye. The transmission ended. Moments later, the Hope of Humanity exploded. Lord Vex watched from his flagship and felt nothing. To him, humans were insects. Their resistance was annoying but meaningless. He ordered his fleet to continue the attack. Far below, in the mountains of Earth, Emily Ward felt the ground shake. Dust fell from the ceiling of the ancient chamber. The battle in space was so intense that even this deep underground, she could feel its effects. Tom Harris was working frantically on his computer, trying to understand the symbols on the walls. Emily, I think I found something. These symbols, they are not just decorations. They are instructions. This whole chamber is some kind of control room. Emily walked closer to the giant sleeping figure. Up close, she could see that its metal skin was covered in tiny patterns, like circuits or veins. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. What is it? She asked, more to herself than to Tom. A hologram suddenly appeared in the air before her. It showed images of the ancient past, millions of years ago. Emily saw a great civilization, beings that looked almost human, but taller and more graceful. They built wonders across the galaxy. They created life on countless worlds. And they created guardians to protect their most sacred places. Earth, the hologram explained, was the birthplace. The first world where intelligent life evolved. The mother of all humanoid species in the galaxy. And this chamber held the first guardian, the most powerful protector ever created. When our time ends, a voice said from the hologram, the guardian will sleep. It will wait for our children to grow strong. And when they face their darkest hour, it will wake again. Emily felt tears running down her face. Humanity was not alone. They had never been alone. Their ancestors had been watching over them all along. A loud crash echoed through the chamber. The entrance was collapsing. Emily looked up and saw someone stumbling through the falling rocks. It was a man in a torn military uniform, covered in blood and burns. Jack Miller had landed near the dig site. He had crawled through the tunnels, following the strange golden light until he found the chamber. "Who are you?" Emily asked, rushing to help him. "Commander Jack Miller," he gasped. "Earth Defense Fleet. The battle is lost. The aliens are destroying everything." Emily helped him sit against a wall. Tom brought water and bandages. Jack's injuries were severe, but he was still conscious, still fighting to stay alive. "What is this place?" Jack asked, looking at the giant figure. "It is called the Guardian," Emily said. "It was made to protect Earth, but I do not know how to wake it." Jack laughed weakly. "If that thing can fight, we need it right now. The collective is killing everyone." Above them, the destruction continued. Cities burned. Ships fell from the sky. The death toll rose into the billions. Lord Vex declared victory and prepared to land his troops on the surface dot in the chamber. Emily studied the control panels desperately. Tom shouted out translations of the ancient symbols. Jack, despite his wounds, helped him search for anything that might activate the Guardian. Then Emily found it. A small pedestal at the Guardian's feet, with a single handprint carved into its surface. The hologram had said the Guardian would wake when its children needed it. Maybe all it needed was a child of Earth to ask for help. Emily placed her hand on the pedestal. Nothing happened. "No," she whispered. "Please. We need you. Wake up. Please wake up." For a long moment, there was only silence. Then, slowly, the symbols on the Guardian's body began to glow brighter. The light spread from its feet to its chest to its face. A deep humming sound filled the chamber. Vibrating in Emily's bones, the Guardian's eyes opened. They were like stars, burning with golden fire. They looked down at Emily, at Jack, at Tom. They saw everything. The battles in space. The burning cities. The dying millions, and then the Guardian spoke. Its voice did not come from its mouth. It came from everywhere, from the walls, from the air, from inside Emily's mind. "My children," the Guardian said. "I have slept too long. Forgive me." The metal giant began to move for the first time in millions of years. Its joints cracked and groaned. Its body shifted and changed, ancient metal flowing like water. It was waking up, and far above, on his flagship, Lord Vex felt something he had not felt in 1,000 years. Fear. The Guardian rose from its ancient sleep like a god rising from the sea. Its massive body stretched upward, metal flowing and reshaping with every movement. The ceiling of the chamber cracked and broke as the giant stood to its full height. 300 feet of living metal, glowing with golden light, finally awake after millions of years. Emily, Jack, and Tom watched in complete amazement. They had never seen anything so powerful, so beautiful, so terrifying. The Guardian looked down at them with eyes like burning stars. There was no anger in its gaze, only sadness and love. "You carry the old blood," the Guardian said, its voice echoing in their minds. "The blood of the first ones. You are truly our children." Emily did not understand what that meant, but she did not have time to ask. The ground was shaking. The sounds of explosions grew louder above them. "Please," she said. "Our people are dying. Can you help us?" The Guardian did not answer with words. It simply turned and looked up at the ceiling of rock above them. Then it began to rise. Its body passed through the solid stone as if it was made of air. It did not break the rock or dig through it. It simply moved through matter like a ghost, leaving Emily and the others behind in the dark chamber. On the surface, people looked up at the mountains and screamed in shock. A giant figure was emerging from the stone, floating upward, glowing with light that hurt their eyes. It was bigger than any building, bigger than any ship. Its body was made of silver metal that shifted and changed like a living thing. The Guardian floated above the mountains and looked around at its world. It saw the burning cities. It saw the bodies in the streets. It saw the alien ships hanging in the sky like dark clouds. It felt the pain of its children dying by the millions. And then it spoke. Its voice reached every human on Earth, every human on the colonies, every being on every ship in the solar system. The voice was ancient and warm, filled with power that made the stars themselves seem to listen. I am the first warden. Earth is under my protection. I have slept too long, but now I am awake, and I will let no more harm come to my children. Lord Vex heard the message on his flagship. For a moment, he did not believe what his sensors were telling him. The energy readings from this new being were impossible. No weapon, no ship, no species in the galaxy could produce such power. Destroy it, Lord Vex ordered. All ships, fire everything at that creature, now. The collective fleet obeyed. Thousands of weapons turned toward the Guardian. Beams of plasma, missiles filled with nuclear fire, gravity weapons that could crack planets in half. Every weapon the collective had brought to destroy Earth, now aimed at a single target. They fired. The sky turned white with the light of 10,000 weapons. The air screamed as energy beams cut through the atmosphere. The ground shook from the force of the explosions. The mountain where the Guardian had emerged was completely destroyed. Nothing but dust and fire remained. On his flagship, Lord Vex smiled. Nothing could survive such an attack. The strange creature was surely destroyed. Then the dust cleared. The Guardian stood in the center of the destruction, completely unharmed. The weapons had done nothing. Not a single scratch marked its silver skin. The nuclear fire still burned around it, but they could not touch it. The gravity weapons had tried to tear it apart, but its body remained whole. Lord Vex felt his blood turn cold. The Guardian launched itself into space. It did not need a ship. It moved faster than light itself, appearing beside the collective flagship in the blink of an eye. It was so close that Lord Vex could see it through his window. Those burning golden eyes looked directly at him. "Your fleet will leave this system," the Guardian said. Its voice echoed through every channel, every frequency, every communication device in the galaxy. "Your weapons will fall silent. You will not harm these people again. If you refuse, I will teach you why the Ancient Ones feared the cradle of humanity." Lord Vex was terrified, but he was also proud. He had never retreated from any battle. He would not start now. "Fire again!" he screamed. "Keep firing until it dies." The collective fleet unleashed everything it had left. Ships that had been held in reserve moved forward to join the attack. For hours, they fired. They used every weapon, every trick, every strategy they knew. They threw everything they had at the Guardian. It absorbed all of it. The Guardian did not dodge the attacks. It did not run or hide. It simply stood in space and let the weapons hit it. The energy flowed into its body like water into a sponge. It was not just surviving the attack. It was feeding on it. When the collective finally stopped firing, their weapons empty and their ships drained of power, the Guardian spoke again. "I do not destroy. I protect. This is your final warning. Leave now and live." Lord Vex knew he was defeated. His pride screamed at him to keep fighting, but his survival instinct was stronger. He gave the order to retreat. The collective fleet turned and fled. 6,000 ships, the most powerful military force in the galaxy, ran away from a single being. They jumped into hyperspace and vanished, leaving the burning Earth behind. The Guardian watched them go. Then it turned and looked down at the planet it had protected for so long. The damage was terrible. Billions of humans had died. Cities were destroyed. The world was covered in fire and smoke. But humanity survived. Emily, Jack, and Tom had made their way to the surface. They stood in the ruins of the mountain and watched as the Guardian slowly descended from the sky. It landed gently in front of them, kneeling down so its massive face was level with their small bodies. "You woke me," the Guardian said to Emily. "You carried the blood of the first ones, my creators. Your ancestors." Emily did not understand. "What do you mean?" "Humans evolved on Earth. We have always been here." "No," the Guardian replied. "Humans are the children of those who came before. Millions of years ago, my creators seeded life across the galaxy. But Earth was special. Earth was the first, the mother world. When my creators fell, their children scattered and changed. Some became the species you call aliens. But those who stayed on Earth, they became you, humanity, the youngest and the oldest, the forgotten heirs to the greatest civilization that ever existed." Jack struggled to his feet, despite his injuries. "If you are so powerful, why did you let them attack us? Why did you wait so long?" The Guardian's golden eyes dimmed slightly with sadness. "I was sleeping, waiting for the right moment, waiting for my children to wake me. You needed to choose to fight before I could help you. You needed to prove that you deserved to survive. And now?" Emily asked. "What happens now?" The Guardian stood and looked at the sky. The stars were starting to appear as the smoke cleared. Somewhere out there, the collective was running. Somewhere out there, the whole galaxy was watching. "Now," the Guardian said, "the universe will learn the truth. Humanity is not a young species. You are the descendants of gods. And you are no longer alone." The Guardian rose into the sky and flew toward the moon, where it would stand watch over Earth. Its message spread across the galaxy at faster than light speed. Every species, every empire, every being heard the same words. Earth was protected. Humanity was sacred. And the Guardian was awake. The old order of the galaxy had just ended. A new age was about to begin. The news spread across the galaxy like fire through dry grass. Within hours, every species knew what had happened at Earth. The mighty collective, the most powerful military alliance in known space, had been humiliated by a single ancient being. Their entire fleet had run away in fear. The small, weak species called humanity had somehow awakened to God. Leaders of great empires watched the recordings over and over. They saw the Guardian emerge from the mountain. They saw it absorb enough firepower to destroy a planet. They saw its golden eyes stare down Lord Vex with the calm confidence of something that could not be defeated. And they were afraid. On the capital world of the collective, Lord Vex faced the Council of Seven. The leaders of the 7 great empires sat in a circle around him, their faces filled with anger and disappointment. "You had 6,000 ships," said the oldest council member, a creature of shadows and smoke. "The humans had less than 400. How did you fail?" Lord Vex kept his head high, though his shame burned inside him. "We did not fail against the humans. We failed against something far older. The Guardian is a weapon from before our recorded history. Our most powerful attacks did nothing to it. Then, we must find a way to destroy it," another council member said. "We cannot allow such a threat to exist." Lord Vex shook his head. "You do not understand. This being is beyond our power. If we attack Earth again, it will destroy us all." The council dismissed him in disgrace. Lord Vex walked out of the chamber with dark thoughts in his mind. He would not accept this defeat. There had to be a way to fight the Guardian. He just needed to find allies who were willing to take the risk. Back on Earth, the survivors began to rebuild. The death toll was horrific. Over 3 billion people had died in the attack. Entire cities were gone. Families were broken. The pain was almost too much to bear. But humanity was not broken. They had survived the worst attack in their history. They had faced extinction and lived. That knowledge gave them strength they did not know they had. Commander Jack Miller recovered from his injuries in a military hospital. The doctors said he was lucky to be alive. Jack did not feel lucky. He had lost so many friends in the battle. He carried their memories like stones in his heart. 2 weeks after the attack, Jack was promoted to Fleet Admiral. The old leaders were dead. New ones were needed. Jack accepted the responsibility, even though he knew he was not ready. "We need to rebuild our fleet," Jack told the new Earth Council. "The Guardians saved us this time, but we cannot depend on it forever. We need to be able to protect ourselves." The Council agreed. Resources from all 12 colony worlds flowed to Earth. Construction began on new shipyards, new weapons, new defenses. Humanity would never be caught unprepared again. Dr. Emily Ward became famous across the galaxy. She was the woman who woke the Guardian. Scientists and historians from dozens of species came to Earth to study the ancient ruins she had discovered. They wanted to learn about the first ones, the creators of the Guardian, the ancestors of all humanoid life. Emily did not care about fame. She cared about truth. She spent every day studying the ancient records, learning everything she could about the civilization that had come before. They called themselves the Builders, Emily explained to a room full of researchers. They existed over 50 million years ago. They created life on thousands of worlds. Every humanoid species in the galaxy carries their genetic material. We are all their children. This revelation changed everything. Species that had been enemies for thousands of years suddenly realized they were family. The great wars that had torn the galaxy apart seemed pointless now. They had all been fighting their own brothers and sisters. Not everyone was happy about this news. Some species refused to believe it. They did not want to accept that humanity, a species they had looked down on for so long, was actually the closest to the original Builders. Human DNA was almost identical to the ancient genetic samples found in the ruins. Other species had changed more over the millions of years. But humans, who had stayed on the mother world, remained nearly the same as their ancestors. The Guardians stood on the surface of the moon, watching over Earth day and night. Occasionally, it would speak to Emily through their mental connection. It answered her questions about the past and warned her about the future. "More threats will come," the Guardian told her one night. "The collective is weakened but not destroyed. And there are darker forces in the outer reaches of the galaxy. Forces that fear what humanity might become. What can we do?" Emily asked. "Grow stronger. Build alliances. Find the others. They're more like you. I am not the only Guardian. My creators built 7 of us, 1 for each sacred world. The others still sleep, waiting to be awakened. If you can find them, humanity will never stand alone again." This information filled Emily with hope. 7 Guardians. 7 protectors. If they could wake them all, no force in the galaxy could threaten Earth. But first, humanity needed to establish itself as a true power. Kate Young, a brilliant diplomat who had survived the attack on New York, was chosen as humanity's first ambassador to the galaxy. She traveled to neutral space to meet with representatives from dozens of species. "We come in peace," Kate said in her historic first address. "We seek no revenge for the attack on our world. We do not wish to build an empire. Humanity wants only to take its rightful place among the stars. We offer friendship to all who would accept it. We offer trade, knowledge, and cooperation. The age of fear is over. Let us build something better together." Many species responded positively. They were curious about humanity and wanted to learn more about the Builders. Trade agreements were signed. Scientific exchanges began. For the first time, humans were treated as equals in the galactic community. But not everyone wanted peace. Lord Vex had traveled to the outer reaches of the galaxy, to regions where even the collective dared not go. There he found the species he was looking for. They called themselves the Purifiers. They were older than the collective, older than most recorded history. They believed that the builders were a mistake, that humanoid life was a corruption that needed to be erased. When the Purifiers learned about the Guardian and humanity's true heritage, they were horrified. Everything they believed told them that the children of the builders must be destroyed. And now those children had awakened one of the ancient weapons. "We will help you," the Purifier leader told Lord Vex. "We will gather our fleets. We will study this Guardian and find its weakness. And when we are ready, we will finish what you started. Earth will burn and the corruption of the builders will finally end." Lord Vex smiled. His revenge was coming. Back on Earth, Tom Harris intercepted strange signals from deep space. Encrypted messages that he could not fully decode. But he understood enough to know that something bad was coming. "Emily," he said with fear in his voice, "I think someone is planning another attack. Something bigger than before." Emily took the information to the Guardian. The ancient being listened carefully, then spoke with a voice heavy with concern. "The Purifiers. I had hoped they were extinct. But it seems some darkness cannot be destroyed. They will come for Earth. They will come for all of you. And I must tell you the truth." "What truth?" Emily asked. "I gave much of my power to protect Earth during the attack. I am not as strong as I once was. If the Purifiers come with their full force, I may not be able to stop them alone." Emily felt her heart sink. But she did not give up hope. She remembered what the Guardian had said about the others. "Then we find the other Guardians," she said. "We wake them before the Purifiers arrive." The Guardian nodded slowly. "Yes, that is our only chance. I will give you the locations of the sleeping Guardians. But the journey will be dangerous. Many have tried to find them before. None have succeeded." Emily stood straight. "Then we will be the first." She knew what she had to do. Humanity's survival depended on it. 6 months had passed since the day the Guardian awoke. Earth had changed in ways that no one could have imagined. The cities that had been destroyed were being rebuilt, but not just as they were before. Now they were being built with technology shared by friendly alien species. Towers of crystal rose where concrete buildings once stood. Flying vehicles filled the skies. Medical technology that had been science fiction was now saving lives every day. But the greatest change was in the hearts of the people. Humanity had stared death in the face and survived. They knew now that they were not alone in the universe, and they knew their true history. They were the children of the builders, the descendants of the greatest civilization that ever existed. That knowledge gave them pride and purpose. Admiral Jack Miller stood on the bridge of the newly built flagship, the Dawn of Humanity. It was the most advanced ship ever constructed by human hands, built with guidance from the Guardian's ancient knowledge. 3 miles long, armed with weapons that could crack moons, and protected by shields that could withstand attacks that would have destroyed entire fleets 6 months ago. "She is beautiful," Jack said, running his hand along the smooth control panel. Captain Lisa Moore's younger brother, Mark Moore, stood beside him. Mark had joined the fleet after his sister died in the first battle. He wanted to honor her sacrifice by continuing the fight. "Lisa would have loved to see this," Mark said quietly. Jack nodded. "She would have. And we will make sure her death was not meaningless. We will protect Earth. We will protect all of humanity, no matter what comes." "On the surface below, Doctor." Emily Ward prepared for the most important mission of her life. The Guardian had given her the locations of the 6 sleeping Guardians. They were scattered across the galaxy, hidden on worlds that had been forgotten for millions of years. Finding them would be dangerous. Waking them might be impossible. But Emily knew she had to try. Tom Harris would be going with her. Despite his fears, he refused to let Emily face the danger alone. They had been through too much together. Whatever happened, they would face it side by side. "I have loaded all the data into the ship's computer," Tom said, checking his equipment for the 100th time. "The first Guardian is on a planet called Vertex Prime in the outer arm of the galaxy. It will take us 3 weeks to get there at maximum speed." Emily nodded. "Then we leave tomorrow. The purifiers are gathering their forces. We do not have much time." That night, Emily visited the Guardian one last time before her departure. The ancient being stood on the moon's surface, looking down at Earth with its golden eyes. Even from space, Emily could feel its presence in her mind. "You are brave to attempt this journey," the Guardian said. "Many have tried before. The worlds where my siblings sleep are protected by traps and tests. Only those who are truly worthy can pass." "Am I worthy?" Emily asked. "That is not for me to decide. The tests will judge you. But I believe in you, Emily Ward. You carry the blood of my creators. You have their courage and their wisdom. If anyone can succeed, it is you." Emily felt tears in her eyes. "I will not fail you. I will not fail Earth. I know. Now go. And remember, no matter how far you travel, you are never truly alone. I will be watching. Always." The next morning, Emily and Tom boarded their ship, the Starlight Wanderer. It was a small vessel designed for speed and stealth rather than combat. Jack Miller was there to see them off, along with hundreds of other people who had gathered to watch. "Come back safe," Jack said, shaking Emily's hand. "Earth needs you." "Earth needs all of us," Emily replied. "Take care of our people while I am gone." The Starlight Wanderer lifted off and climbed into the sky. People watched until it was just a tiny point of light among the stars. Then it jumped into hyperspace and vanished. Kate Young continued her work as humanity's ambassador. She traveled from world to world, building alliances and making friends. Many species were eager to help Earth. Some did it out of genuine friendship. Others did it because they feared the Guardian and wanted to stay on humanity's good side. Kate did not care about their reasons. She cared about results. "The purifiers are a threat to all of us," Kate told a gathering of representatives from 50 different species. "They do not just want to destroy humanity. They want to erase all humanoid life from the galaxy. We are all children of the Builders. We are all targets. If we stand together, we can defeat them. If we fight alone, we will fall one by one." Her words struck a chord. Species that had been neutral began to offer support. Ships and soldiers joined the growing alliance. For the first time in galactic history, the children of the Builders were uniting against a common enemy. Far away. In the darkness between galaxies, the Purifier fleet grew larger every day. Lord Vex walked among their ships, pleased with what he saw. Thousands of vessels, each one ancient and powerful, were gathering for the final war. "When will we be ready?" he asked the Purifier leader. "Soon. We are studying the Guardian's weaknesses. We are building weapons that can hurt it. When we attack, we will not fail like you did." Lord Vex felt a flash of anger at the insult, but he held his tongue. He needed these creatures. Without them, he had no chance of revenge. "Just make sure you do not underestimate the humans," he said. "They are more dangerous than they look." The Purifier leader laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "They are insects. Insects with a powerful pet. Once we destroy the Guardian, the humans will fall like all the others." Back on Earth, the Guardian sensed the gathering darkness. It stood on the moon and looked outward, toward the edge of the galaxy. Its golden eyes saw things that no human could see. The Purifiers were coming. and they were bringing enough force to darken the stars. "Hurry, Emily," the Guardian whispered across the void. "Time is running out." Somewhere in hyperspace, Emily heard the Guardian's voice in her mind. She looked out at the swirling lights of faster-than-light travel and felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. The fate of humanity, the fate of the galaxy, depended on her mission. "We will not fail," she said aloud, even though no one could hear her. Tom looked up from his computer. "Did you say something?" "Just making a promise," Emily replied. "To myself, to everyone." The Starlight Wanderer flew on through the darkness, carrying humanity's hopes toward the unknown. On Earth, life continued. Children went to school. Families ate dinner together. People laughed and cried and loved and dreamed. They did not know about the purifiers. They did not know how close they had come to extinction. They only knew that they were alive, that their world was protected, and that tomorrow was worth looking forward to. The Guardian watched them all. It had been created to protect life, to guard the children of its creators. For millions of years, it had slept, waiting for this moment. Now it was awake, and it would fulfill its purpose until its last breath of existence. In the distance, stars began to disappear as the Purifier fleet moved through space, blocking out the light. The darkness was coming, but so was the dawn. Emily was 3 weeks away from the first sleeping Guardian. Jack was building the strongest fleet humanity had ever commanded. Kate was forging an alliance that would shake the foundations of the galaxy. And billions of humans were waking up every day, ready to fight for their future. They had been called weak. They had been called primitive. They had been dismissed and ignored and nearly destroyed. They were none of those things. They were the children of the builders. They were the heirs of the greatest civilization in history. They were humanity. And they were just getting started. The Guardian looked at Earth one last time, its golden eyes filled with pride and love. Then it turned to face the coming darkness. Whatever happened next, it would not face it alone. Neither would humanity, ever again.